views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Are you ready to triumph over the challenges in your life? Are you ready to create the life you desire? Radio host Sue London overcame illness, abuse, disease, divorce, and near death. As a spiritual life coach, Reiki master, motivational speaker, and author, Sue's goal is to help millions of people cope, heal, and move forward. Get inspired. Create the life you desire with internationally known radio host Sue London. Host Sue London and her weekly guest will bring you tools, techniques, products, and services that will help you get inspired to create the life you desire. Now, here's your host, Sue London.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sue London, and you are listening to Get Inspired Radio here on Transformation Talk Radio. I want to invite you to stay with us for the next hour and let us inspire you and help you to create that life that you so desire. Now, you can connect with me after the show through my personal website, AskSueLondon.com. That address again is AskSueLondon.com. And folks, be sure and sign up for the free newsletter so that I can send you 10 inspiring, empowering videos that are filled with tools and techniques that I have used personally in my own life to overcome and heal Crohn's disease, a life and death pregnancy, being given 30 minutes to live, going through a challenging divorce, abuse, and having a near-death experience. So all of those details are in the videos found at AskSueLondon.com after you signed up for the free newsletter. It'll automatically come out to you. And here we are. I wanted to mention to you that last week we had guest Janice Hoffman on the show, and boy, did we have an awesome show. Now, our network was just so excited about the feedback that they got about the show that they are going to air it again next Wednesday. That's March the 26th. At 9 a.m. Pacific, and that is noon Eastern time. So if you want to hear that, you go to tune into the Best of TTR with me, host Sue London, and you can hear that fun yet very informative interview that I did with Janice Hoffman. And our topic was on relationship rules. And if you've heard it, you can rehear about the fun that Christopher and I had talking about the male, the Venus, and the Mars, and Chris talking about his significant other, and I was talking about my hubby Ross and our relationship. So it was a great show. So to hear it, just simply go to transformationtalkradio.com at that time on Wednesday, March the 26th, again, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern time, and you can hear that show. So Christopher, happy first of spring, my friend.
That's right. Actually, if you want to get technical, the first full day of spring is tomorrow. But yes, it happened at 12:57 Eastern today. Do you know what that means?
It's supposed to be warm, and we're supposed to have flowers coming up, not snow.
No, it means at 12:57 p.m. Eastern time and 0 seconds that the sun's rays were shining directly on the equator.
Oh yes, I knew that. I thought you were being kind of funny there.
No, I was being...
And I was going to say, at that time, I looked out, and as you know, we're in Niagara region of southern Ontario, Canada, and I was watching snowflakes come down. I
was being your mad scientist.
Oh my gosh! So do you think does this mean now the snow is going to be gone? Is this like the cold weather and everything is going to be gone now?
Snow is gone here, my dear.
Well, it's not here, my friend. So what's new with you this week?
Well, what's new? I mean, busy as usual. We are doing every Wednesday nights for our sister radio station. Lauren and I go out to do Battle of the Bands at Hard Rock Cafe every Wednesday night. So I'm a little tired today, but I feel better, though. I'm not sick anymore, which is good.
Very good. Well, we're all healthy here, and I am just so pumped. We got a great show today. And do you know what I'm doing this weekend?
You're spending time with your dog and your grandchildren.
Actually, well, you know what? I think I'm going to be doing a lot more than that. Ross and I are going to be taking our new puppy, Marley. He's now old enough the groomer will cut his hair. So, because he's a little Shih Tzu, right? So you know how their hair around their face really grows. So he's going for his first official full beauty treatment on Sunday. So we'll be there with our cameras, and then a couple days after that, he's going to start puppy training. That's the new adventure Ross and I are going to be doing together with him. So I'm looking forward to that. I've never had a dog in puppy training, but I just thought this would be something new. And
well, if he needs any consultation, Bella is available this weekend for phone calls.
Oh, is she? Okay, now folks, you gotta tell everybody who Bella is.
Now, Bella is my little, and I say Shih Tzu. It sounds a little better.
So you say Shih Tzu? Well, that's why, because you say soda and we say pop up here in Canada.
No, I say it because people think I'm going to say a swear if I say it the other way, so I say Shih Tzu.
Oh, okay.
But she gets groomed quite often, and Lena takes good care of her, and she puts her in the shower every now and then. Yeah. And she's treated just like a person. The only thing with Bella, and this might be embarrassing for Bella, so Bella, if you're listening, hold your ears. We have to keep her away from all carpeted floors during the overnight hours because she thinks she's outside, if you know what I mean. Whenever she's on a carpet. She's very well trained when it comes to the regular hardwood floors and everything, but you got to keep her away from those rugs.
Wow, interesting. Well, I know with it being, like I was mentioning to you last week, we had Marley trained right from day one, and he was great. And then all of a sudden we had this major, major cold weather here, and he couldn't handle the wind. He was actually blowing over. It was so windy here because he's only like 3 pounds. He's up to 3.5 pounds now. And so he didn't like it. So a couple times he peed on the carpet, and it wasn't a good thing. So, and him and I are both Sagittarius, so that's not even a better thing either, right? So the wills come out, the strong personalities. Well,
you Sagittariuses are drifters too.
Drifters? I'm not a drifter.
No, I mean like you're not set in one way. You're not set in your way. Well, you're stubborn, but you're not set in doing
I'm not stubborn. I'm strong-willed.
There you go. Strong-willed. Perfect.
So, but, we have to talk about today's show. As you know, we have had many, many great, fantastic guests on the show, and sometimes we get a very, very special guest where our topic is really powerful, and it's basically you and I not running the show. Right, Christopher?
Right, Sue. I never run the show.
Well, I'm telling you, our guest today is Garnet Schulhauser, and he has got an amazing story of how he, I'm saying lightly, wrote a book, and we're talking about his book today. But this book has got to be one of the most powerful books that I've held in my hands or read in a very long time. It is an amazing book, and so today we're going to talk about it. But what was happening for me, I was having experiences like I would fall asleep. Like even today, I fell asleep at 2:00. I could not stay awake. And you know how many times we've talked about, to me, having sleeps in the afternoon is a waste of time? Well, I actually fell asleep, and I was having dreams, and I was getting messages of what to bring up on the show. Like I was being guided early this afternoon and having dreams last night, like, being guided what I was, to bring up and to talk about and my experiences and what to ask our guests. So I think we're going to have an interesting show, but we'll have to see who's running the show today. I don't know if we can take credit for it today, Chris.
What was that, Sue? I was sleeping.
Oh, you're so cute. So cute.
Yeah, but I had to say that.
You know how when we lost our dog, Willie?
Yes.
And how you and I were hearing the barking, right? Willie came through and you and I just heard him barking.
I heard him.
Well, so get ready, folks. Anything's going to happen today is all I can say, okay? Now, Christopher, while I'm talking about our guests, this is the birthday month of 2 of my babies, and as I promised earlier, we are going to give away a set of my books, the full set. That's my life story, Soar Above It All, Overcoming Adversities in Life, and the children's book, Rocky's Positive Thoughts Coloring Book, and the children's book, Rocky's Trip to the Hospital. So we're going to give the whole set away to celebrate 2 of my babies' birthdays this month. So, Christopher, how do they call in to win the books?
They call 1-800-930-2819, or you can call locally 401-322-9091, and all you have to say is I love Sue and Chris. That's the phrase that pays. And you will win the books.
And do they come into the station?
They can come to the station if they are local, and if they're listening anywhere in the world, of course, we can mail it to them. We'll get their information off the air.
Perfect. So, folks, you've got the opportunity to win today 3 of my books, Soar Above It All, Overcoming Adversities in Life, Rocky's Positive Thoughts Coloring Book, and Rocky's Trip to the Hospital. So call in to win. Now, as I was mentioning, our guest today, he's awesome. He's incredible. I love him. He has taken a step that not everybody would do, and I really taught my hat off to him because he's going to really make a big difference for so many. Now, our guest is Garnet Schulhauser, and our topic is Startling Revolutions from the Other Side. Now, Garnet is the author of an amazing new book called Dancing on a Stamp. Now, today he's going to discuss the revelations that he received from a homeless man named Albert who confronted him on the street one day. Folks, this is a true story. Now, Albert was actually a wise spirit guide in disguise, and he answered all of life's big questions about who we are, our purpose in life, and what happens to us after death, and so much more. Now, to learn more about Garnet Schulhauser and to purchase a copy of his book, Where to Get It and that, Dancing on a Stamp, go to his website, dancingonastamp.com. And again, the book is called Dancing on a Stamp. And I really, if you are looking for answers, spiritual growth, folks, I cannot emphasize to you enough, this is a book for you all to either learn from, to grow from, or just to have reminders. It's an incredibly powerful book. So before we get started, I want to share that you can all call in and ask your questions. So the number that you call is 1-800-930-2819. Again, that number is 1-800-930-2819. And you can also ask your questions through the instant feedback area on the homepage on transformationtalkradio.com website. So Garnet, welcome to the show, my friend.
Very nice to be here. I'm delighted, and thank you for inviting me, Sue.
Well, I have to thank you, as I was saying, because you got to share with everybody first your background. Like, how did this all start? Because not everybody would go from where you were and write such a powerful book on such a totally different topic that was really not like you, was it?
Very much unlike me, yeah. Well,
yeah, exactly. So tell everybody how all this
was that I met this amazing man, which was really very much a life-transforming event for me. It was in 2007. At the time, I was a corporate lawyer practicing law in Calgary in Canada. I was a partner of a blue-chip law firm. I had an office on the 47th floor of a tall, high-rise tower with an amazing view to the west of the Rocky Mountains. And that was sort of my lifestyle. That's who I was. I was a lawyer, and I was very reticent to talk about my feelings, and I was very much a typical straight-laced, stuffed shirt corporate lawyer. So anyway, that was the path leading up to this eventful day. So on this afternoon, it was a Monday afternoon, I decided to, in the middle of the afternoon, to go for a walk to get some fresh air, and it was like a beautiful sunny day in May. So I took the elevator down and walked out. In front of our building was a pedestrian mall, which is closed to vehicular traffic, and so just open to pedestrians. So I'd gone for walks on this street many times before. So I'm walking along, or I should say probably more like I was strutting along in my navy pinstripe suit, looking every bit like a corporate lawyer. And I walked a couple of blocks, and all of a sudden, then it happened. A homeless man sort of came out of nowhere and just jumped out in front of me. Now, he looked like a typical homeless man. He had long, stringy, greasy hair and a scraggly beard, and he had dirty clothes. It looked like he'd been sleeping in them for weeks.
Yeah.
And I'd seen these homeless people on the street many times before, and my usual tactic was to just do a quick sidestep and go around them, because more often than not, they were trying to panhandle for money.
Yeah.
But I didn't with this guy, because he was very different. And what was different about him was that he had these amazing, dazzling blue eyes that shone like two little blue stars, and they were literally mesmerizing. And so I stood there looking at this man, and his eyes were sort of doing two things to me at once. The first part of it was that his eyes were penetrating deep inside of me. I felt like he was looking right through me and right down to the depths of my soul.
Yep.
And I just sensed, sorry?
Yeah.
And I just sensed that that he knew everything about me, and that he knew everything I had done in my life, and that he knew all my thoughts, all my fears, all my anxieties, all my hopes and aspirations, and even my deepest and darkest secrets, which is quite amazing because we had never met before. I'd never seen this fellow before.
And that's the first time you've had an experience like that, right? You had not in all your lifetime ever experienced somebody with eyes that would do that to you, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Really quite an amazing different feeling.
Yeah.
And so I was standing there feeling sort of naked and exposed, but it was interesting. I didn't feel violated because at the very same time, these eyes were sending forth an amazing gush of pure, unconditional love. That's the only way I could describe it. I've never felt it before.
Yeah.
And this love was sort of infusing my whole body and making me feel just wonderful with an amazing sense of peace and security, something I'd never ever felt before anywhere. And I loved it, and I just stood there transfixed, like I was literally like a deer caught in the headlights.
Yeah.
And I had no idea how long I stood there, and frankly, I didn't care. I could have stood there forever, enjoying this wonderful feeling coming from this man. And then he broke the reverie by suddenly speaking up, and he said to me, "Why are you here?" Then he just immediately disappeared into a nearby store. And when I finally collected my wits and tried to figure out what had happened, I went into the store to try to find him, but he was nowhere to be seen. And I walked up and down that street. I couldn't see him anywhere. And so I ended up sort of walking back to my office in the day, and wondering, who this guy was, why did he stop me, and what was this all about? Was I hallucinating? Was I, what happened? So that night, I decided that I just had to go back and find this man. So the next day, the very same time, I walked on the same street and walked up and down for a while. And when I was about to lose hope, then I spotted him sitting on a park bench, all by himself. So I walked over to him and I started the conversation with him, a conversation which from that point on went on for quite a while and into the next couple of years.
So overall, since you first met him up until you did the book, how long was that period? Like 2 years?
Yeah, I first met him in May of 2007.
Okay.
And I finished my book in June of 2011, I think it was.
Okay.
So there was quite a period where we had conversations, and then it took me quite a while to actually get to the point where I decided I was going to write the book and then proceed to write it and rewrite it and so on and so forth. So, and there was quite a struggle in my mind before I got to the point of writing a book as to whether or not I would actually do it, because what's in my book and what I had to write about were basically sort of my coming out of the spiritual closet, as it were.
Yeah,
and it was very different from what people who had known me, my law partners, my friends, colleagues, classmates from law school, whatever. They would never have imagined in a million years that I could have written a book like this, and that they would. And I knew that they would think much differently about me after it was out. So I had a real internal struggle as to whether I'd actually do this. So that's why it sort of took so long. It was first of all talking to Albert, and then having this struggle in my own mind about whether I would just sort of shove it aside and never talk to anyone about it, or whether I'd actually write this book and get it out in the open. So that was sort of the period. But the conversations, my original meeting was way back in 2007.
I like in the book how you were saying how he was going to use a 2x4 over you, that he had to use a 2x4 on you. Because I'm always hearing, I'm going to kick you on the butt, but in a loving way. I thought that was really cute. But I totally relate to what you're saying with that, because I know when I wrote my book, I had never shared that I had a near-death experience except with one person at a hospital, and they thought I was nuts. They said there was no such thing. And so I kind of protected myself, and it took me a long time to write my story. So that's why I'm saying to you, and I wanted to know that this book is really powerful, and I really taught my hat off for you going from being a lawyer to writing this, because you are truly going to make such a powerful difference for millions with this book. And I appreciate that you have gone out of that comfort zone to write that. So thank you for that.
You're very kind, Sue. Thank you very much.
Now, Chris, I understand we have somebody on the call, but before we take that, I want to make it clear to everybody that we're talking today to Garnet, who had this experience with his spirit angel, spirit guide, Albert. Now, Garnet is not a medium. He's not giving messages to you. But if you've got questions you want to ask around, what we're talking about, that's great. But just know this is not a show that we're doing readings on, okay? So, Christopher, saying that, we have somebody on the call that on the phone that wants to ask a question?
Yes, we do. We have Arisha from New Jersey. Are you there, Arisha?
Yes, I am. I'm new to Transformation on Talk Radio, and I was listening to your show, and I was calling about the gift.
The gift?
Oh,
yeah,
the
books you
books.
have.
The books.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I didn't know she was calling in for the books. Okay.
That's okay. Well, welcome to our network, and it's a pleasure having you listening to the show, my friend.
Thank you.
So, Christopher, do you want to talk with her then off the air, and then you can...
Yeah, we'll get her information, and we can send her out some books. How about that?
Great. Well, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate having you here. So let's go back to our... Christopher, there's no one else on the line, right?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Well, it was nice to talk to her. Okay, now... Garnet, what I liked when you were saying about his eyes, because I was listening to you. Yeah. I've experienced that a few times, and I'm glad you shared that, because people have that experiences really all the time, don't they? But they don't understand what it's all about or who it is, do they?
Yeah, no, that's very true. And you had mentioned the fact that you had had a near-death experience and you were reluctant to talk about it for fear of ridicule by family and friends. That's a very common experience, and there's a whole lot more people who've actually experienced near-death experiences or who've had contact in some way with spirit, whether they're loved ones who've passed over or their spirit guides. And people are just reluctant to talk about it because for fear of the reaction from other colleagues or employers or whoever around them. And you had some of that negative reaction. I've had some of it as well. Although I have to say that overall I was very pleasantly surprised that there were a whole lot more people who sort of, after reading my book, said, good for you that you've actually done this, and thank you for having the courage to take that step. There's a lot more of those than the people who sort of ridiculed me or just sort of shunned me was the more common experience. So that was very encouraging. But there are a lot of people who have these experiences, and more people are talking about it because as somebody mentioned to me during one of the conferences I was at, they said, 20 or 30 years ago, you would not have written this book, and if you had, hardly anyone would have read it. And I said, you are right, because we have really progressed along the road to spiritual enlightenment in the last few decades, and
for sure,
and I think there's going to be more and more of the messages that Albert's sending out, and which I wrote in my book, coming from me and from other people. And I think our civilization's at the point where we're ripe for that, and people are looking for answers, and hopefully the answers are coming from people like Albert.
Exactly, and that's what I found. Like, I have no problems now sharing what I went through on the other side. And I have to say, everyone listening, when you read Garnet's book, Dancing on a Stamp, and when he's talking about, going to the other side, those are exactly the same things that I experienced, having that near-death experience. And it was this place of such powerful love and joy, unconditional love. I had never experienced that, and I did not want to come back. And it was my grandfather that stopped me and said I had to come back because it wasn't my time. And he said to me, I had millions of people and animals that I had to come back and help. And look what I'm doing today. So no surprise. So I definitely know, what my mission is. And I know that I have a lot on the other side helping me. And I'm really grateful for that. But yeah, so I guess, folks, the message you're hearing from Garnet and I here is that if you've gone through stuff, share it with others, because you have no idea what your words will do for someone. And I can tell you that since sharing my stuff, it's amazing how many people have said they felt comfort from that. They have felt strength. They have felt that they're not alone. There's so many things that can happen. Garnet, I've shared different times that what happened for me after I came back from my near-death experience, I started praying to God, and I wasn't really one I went to church only because my parents said we had to, but I didn't understand why as a kid. And we were Presbyterian. And I remember going to our minister and saying, listen, is there such a people as angels? And he told me no. And that's where I kind of shut myself down around going to churches and religions, because I thought, I'm seeing them, I'm connecting with them. How can he say there's not such a thing? So it was very confusing for me. So when I came back from the experience, I promised God, I said I was so grateful to be alive and I would do his work. And so what happens for my husband, Ross, and I is we had these unexpected trips come up for us. And it's like we're being sent in the right place at the right time to help people in need. So it's pretty amazing, the work that we're doing. Do you have experience where you're guided to go places? Like you were guided to read the book?
I mean, I am. Yeah, I don't get the sort of the direct commands or guidance from Albert. He sort of limits himself in terms of what he tells me. But I have my other spirit guides, who Albert won't tell me who they are, who communicate to me like they do to you and to everyone else, which is through subtle messages like intuitive thoughts and whispers in your mind and coincidental events. And so I have to, like everyone else, sort of try to figure out which should be my next step in life, the hard way, so to speak, because Albert's not going to make it easy for me. And
no,
so,
he's going to make you work for it, that's for sure. I got that impression from your book.
I'm sorry?
We've got to take a quick break. Now, I know we've got somebody on the phone that wants to talk with you, but Chris, let's take that quick break now, and then we come back. Then we'll bring the listener on to ask her questions. Does that sound good, everybody?
Sounds great.
Great. So, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We are talking to Garnet Schulhauser. He's got a fantastic book, Dancing on a Stamp. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to talk about so much more powerful spiritual stuff. So stay tuned.
Tune in to Angels and Answers with Artie Hoffman, the hottest psychic with the warmest heart, every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time and 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio. With passion and a sense of humor, he delivers spiritual and motivational messages for both individuals and groups of people, and is internationally known for his amazing psychic abilities. Don't forget to call in at 800-930-2819 for live on-air readings, and visit Artie at artiehoffman.com.
What's getting your attention as physical pain or illness? Have doctors been unable to help? Consider an intuitive healing session with Christy Borst. Amazing things happen every day, sometimes with jolting awareness, and sometimes with subtle shifts aided with Christy's divine healing gift. Release that which no longer serves you. For more information and to contact Christy, visit healingresonance.us. That's healingresonance.us.
It's March Mania at Central Auto Group in Plainfield, your #1 buying destination and the home of Ford, Mazda, Hyundai, and Volkswagen. Get a free giant 50-inch LED flat-screen TV when you buy any new or pre-owned vehicle during the month of March. Central is selling all 2013 leftovers for $2,000 under dealer cost. Nobody can beat a Central deal, or we guarantee you $2,000. Central has the biggest selection, over 600 vehicles. Drive away a new Ford F-150, $198 per month. A new Mazda 6, $99 a month. A new Hyundai Elantra, $98 per month, or the all-new Volkswagen Jetta, $97 per month. Central is the only place where you can shop Ford, Mazda, Hyundai, and Volkswagen at one location. We service all makes and models with free diagnostic. Open 7 days a week. Get your free 50-inch flat-screen TV when you buy any new or pre-owned vehicle, and 2013 leftovers, $2,000 under dealer cost till the end of March. Central Auto Group, CT.com, exit 87, I-395, 860-564-4014.
Central Auto Group.
See dealer for details.
Psychic World, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, with John G. Sutton, featuring his special guest, Countess Strella, one of Britain's most respected psychic mediums. John is an internationally published author, poet, and professional clairvoyant. His best-selling books include Psychic Pets, featured with John on the Walt Disney Channel, Animal Planet. Currently, John is the feature editor of the monthly Psychic World, which is the UK's Journal of Spiritualism. He has over 30 years of experience working in the field field of paranormal studies. Countess Storella has an incredible ability to visualize your future in a positive, passionate way. This show offers all listeners the chance to call in and speak directly to John or the amazing Countess Storella. You can ask your personal questions about love, career, money, relationships, or whatever is troubling you in this often difficult life. What dreams may come? Join John G. Sutton and Countess Storella to discover your answer. See www.psychicworld.net.
We are back on Get Inspired Radio with Sue London. Folks, today we're having an awesome show. I have an amazing man, Garnet Schulhauser, with us, and we're talking about his new and absolutely powerful, amazing book called Dancing on a Stamp. And we're talking about the experiences that Garnet had with his spirit guide, Albert. And he's going to today talk about the messages that he received. Now, again, we want to point out that this is not, like, Garnet is not a medium. You cannot call in and ask who's your spirit guide or that. This man, Albert, or the spirit guide, has worked with Garnet to get the messages out to us all. So today, Garnet is sharing these messages. Now, Christopher, I understand we have Kathy from Seattle on the phone. She has a question?
Yes, Kathy, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for taking my phone call.
Hi, Kathy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What is your question, my dear?
Well, I'm a crystal energy healer, and lately I have not been feeling connected to my intuition, to my guides, to my angels. So my question is very generic. For those who kind of lost touch with themselves and connecting with themselves, how can we reconnect either with our intuition or spirit guides or angels when it seems like it's a difficult time?
Okay. Garnet, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I can answer that. Well, Kathy, first of all, understand that you're never alone. Your spirit guides are always there with you. And you may not be aware of them all the time, but they're always there. They're coaching you. They're trying to send you messages and give you guidance in your life. And you may not be receiving them all the time. And the main reason that humans don't hear and understand these messages is because their minds are too cluttered with other things. They're thinking about what I have to do tomorrow and next week, and they're looking back on what I did, last week and last month. And so all these thoughts are roiling through our minds, and when they are, it's hard to discern the messages from your guides. They're sending them all the time, but you just don't hear them, or if you hear them, your mind dismisses them or rationalizes a different course of action. Happens all the time, and there's no magic way of reconnecting with your guides. The most basic way, according to Albert, is that you have to just quiet your mind and try to get rid of all these other thoughts that are turmoiling through your mind. And the best way really is through meditation, sitting quietly and meditating and trying to listen to the messages that they're sending and amongst all the other thoughts that are churning through your mind. Now, not easy to do that. It takes a lot of practice, but that is the best way of reconnecting with your guides. And then if you practice this for a while, you'll find that after a while, even when you're not meditating, that suddenly thoughts will sort of pop into your mind. Well, those thoughts most of the time are coming from your guides, even though you may not recognize it. And so it's a matter of when they pop into your mind is to just take a moment to think about what you just thought about, think about the messages there, and try to understand what they're trying to tell you and try to act on it. So it's not easy. It's not intended to be easy, Kathy. That's one of the great challenges we have as humans in our journey here, is to try to discern our messages so that we can try to follow the life plan that we set for ourselves before we were born. I wish I could give you a magic bullet answer, but there isn't one. I think you just have to try to quiet your mind and practice meditation. And there's lots of books, and DVDs and so on how to meditate. Grab one that works for you, find something that works, and just practice at it.
Can I add something to that too, Garnet? Kathy, I know what you're saying because I'm a medium myself. I'm also a Reiki master, and I really, really feel energy the energy has been really strong in the last 6 months, and it's getting stronger. I know for me, I'm having a heck of a time with technology because my frequency is getting higher. I'm shutting TVs down. Like, this is kind of the stuff that's happening for me. And when you were asking your question to Garnet, I agree with you, because what I've had to do is I've had to do more meditation than ever before. I used to meditate once a day. I'm doing it sometimes 3 times a day or more. So meditation is really, really the answer for you to get into.
Oh, thank you so much.
That will really help you. And if you send me your email, I can send some links of meditations that you can follow, if that helps you. We've had different guests on the show. And I can tell you that next week we have Dr. Catherine Wright on the show. And she's a healer, a woman that I work with personally. And she's been helping me to cope with all of the strong energy. And she's going to be taking everyone through the show next week through this meditation. It's very powerful. In fact, Chris can tell you he falls off the chair, even, don't you, Chris, when we have Catherine on the show.
That's right. So, good thing we have a new chair here.
Yeah. So I would suggest tuning in next week as well. In the last part of the show, we're going to be doing that meditation. I can tell you it'll be very helpful because she takes me through that personally.
Thank you so much. I've also, practiced, and I can practice more Kriya Yoga, Kundalini Yoga. Yep. And, have you heard about that, Kriya Yoga?
No, I do Dawn Yoga. Okay. It's energy yoga. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So
Got
do
it.
a lot of that.
Thank you so much.
Good. Well, thanks for joining us, and thanks for calling in with your question.
Okay. Take care.
So, Garnet, thank you for answering that question, and it's so true. Meditation is very powerful. People do not understand how powerful that is, and that was one of the things that you and Albert covered, didn't you, in your book?
We got to get Garnet back. We'll get him back in a second. We lost him because I hit the wrong button when I hung up on Kathy.
Christopher.
It's a new and interesting phone system to me, so we'll get him right back.
Okay, well, I'll just keep talking. So
you can do that.
We're talking about meditation, folks, and when we get Garnet back on, meditation is an area that Albert did talk about with Garnet, and meditation is extremely important, and I can tell you I was one that poo-pooed it for many, many years, and with the energy becoming so much stronger with our life, we have to slow our minds down. We have to get ourselves so that we are calm and not all the chatter in our mind, so we are getting these messages. And when you have your mind slow down, you get the guidance from your spirit angels, from your loved ones on the other side, to guide you with your direction to take. And as Garnet talks about in his book, we all do have like the freedom of choice, but when you do that meditation, you will get that the guidance, and then you can take that. Christopher, have you got Garnet back?
Yep, we got him back.
Okay, good. So Garnet, we have you back. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Well, we were talking about, I was kind of talking about how in your book you were talking about meditation, how it is important that Albert was talking about that. Let's get you to share some of these other messages that Albert shared with you, because they are very powerful messages. Where do you want to start?
We talked about a lot of things, but the way I could condense Albert's sort of main messages into a few points. First of all, in terms of who we are, we're all eternal souls. We're eternal souls that live forever. We were created by the Source, or God, or the Creator, however you want to call Him. Created by the Source. We're part of the Source, and we're actually connected to and part of each other. So we're all sort of the Source is the sum total of everything in the universe, and we're just sort of individual aspects of the Source. So we came from a wonderful place called the spirit side before we were born, which is a wonderful place full of peace and harmony without any negatives. And we chose ourselves. No one made us come here. We chose to incarnate on Earth in a human body. Now, we came here to experience things that we needed for our evolution as a soul. So we came here on our own free will. And before we came, we each devised a life plan. And our life plan sets out all the major things in our life, like the identities of our parents and our siblings and our other relatives, where we're going to be born, the first language we learn, the schools we go to. And that plan is designed to allow us to encounter the things, the experiences on Earth that we before we were born that we thought we needed for our evolution. So we basically choose our life more or less, at least all the major parts of it. And so that we could, once we're incarnated, we could go ahead and experience the things we need. Now, the interesting part about that is that once we're on Earth, we're not allowed to remember what's in our life plan. And so we sort of have to sort of stumble along and try to get to where we wanted to get without having sort of the full roadmap ahead of us that we can sort of make reference to. And that, coupled with the fact that we're given free will on Earth to act, means that very often we're going to stumble off course and take a wrong turn and make some mistakes. But that's all part of our life experience. And the other part of that is that our spirit guides are always there to try to coach us onto the right sort of track, which is the path we hope to follow before we were born. And our guides, as I mentioned before, they give us very subtle messages, not direct conversations, and we have to be sort of vigilant to try to hear these messages and understand them and try to follow it. And then the other major point, which is sort of would be very surprising to people, some people who were raised in a religious, Christian background like I was, is that the source or God doesn't make rules for us to follow on Earth, and the source does not control our lives or manipulate events. And furthermore, when you die, you go back to the spirit side. Everyone does. And there's no judgment by God. There's no punishment if you've misbehaved. Everyone just goes back to the spirit side, where we will, after our life is over, we will have a life review and basically analyze what we did, analyze our mistakes and the lessons we learned, and then plan for our next incarnation. So those are sort of the main things, a lot of which just flies in the face of what I was taught as a child growing up in a Roman Catholic family. And of course, there's a lot of other things you said, but those are sort of the ones that sort of that hits the main points of what he said during our conversations.
Yeah, and folks, I can't tell you strong enough that, if you are looking for answers, if you are looking for understanding or for meaning or why, Garnet's book is absolutely the book for you. And I have read a lot of spiritual books, and I've worked with a lot of people that have books similar. This is an awesome, awesome book, and I really want to recommend that you really go to his website, dancingonastamp.com, and you can see where you can purchase this book, because it is phenomenal. One of the things, Garnet, I know that people ask me, and maybe you get this asked to you too, is how do we know we have proof that we have spirit guides with us? And I don't know, you have a dog, right, Garnet?
Yes.
Do you, what I say to people, I have 2 dogs, and dogs our pets are really great at pointing out when we have loved ones with us. Do you find that when you have somebody with you, your dog will act funny, start barking or staring off at the distance or that?
You mean when I have Albert or somebody else around me?
Yeah. Have you ever noticed that?
No, she hasn't. I've never experienced that. She often barks at me when I do something funny, but I don't think she has.
Oh, is that right?
She hasn't. No, she has never reacted that I could see with Albert, and that's probably because Albert was being
well, Albert was on this side though too, wasn't he?
Undetectable,
yeah. Because I can tell you from experiences that I've had, because it's really funny. Because in our house, my husband, I'm not his wife, I'm his adventure. As Chris will tell you, we talk about my husband quite a lot on the show, and I love him dearly. And he always says that he always learns something from me, and he'll do something, and I'll say, "Oh, your mom is here, and she wants you to know this," and he'll say, "Oh, how do I know mom is here?" And so I'll mention, watch the dogs, and the dogs will go to an area and just stare, or they'll start barking, or they'll wag their tail. And I want to share that because, folks, some of you listening may say, well, I don't have anybody with me. Each one of you do. You're hearing it from both Garnet and I, and you've heard Garnet say that Albert has shared that as one of his messages, that we all have support. So I want you all to know that you all do truly have support with you. That's very important to know. I think that when you know you have support, Garnet, it's so much easier to get through life challenges, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, one of the greatest concerns that people have is just the feeling of being alone, and that they're there. They have to work through everything themselves. They have no help. And that's just not true, because everyone has lots of help from the spirit side. Your guides are always there trying to help, and it's just a matter of listening to what they're saying and taking comfort in the fact that they're there. They never leave you, and they never give up. And they're there from the time you pop out of the birth canal until you make your way out of this world. And they volunteered before you were born, and they're there to give you this coaching, and it's always there. It's just a matter of learning to tap into what they're saying, so you can try to follow their guidance and have a happier life while you're on this journey.
Yeah, and meditation really has made a difference for me in connecting stronger. And I'm glad that, you talk about meditation in the book, because like we were saying to Kathy, that's really important for people to do. And I can tell you honestly, years ago I thought meditation, no. But I was somebody who was always on the go, constantly playing sports, and to sit down and do yoga and meditation, that wasn't for me. But when I let my stubbornness stop, I guess you could say I was hit over the head with a 2x4. Then I got into it, and I'm very grateful that I did, and it did change my life. So Albert really is sharing
advice for anyone to follow.
Here,
and if as you mentioned, Albert does say that meditation is one of the great ways of trying to connect with your spirits, and I think that's a hard way to do it. It would be nice if everyone's spirit guide came to them like Albert came to me, and just had a direct telepathic conversation. But Albert says that's just not going to happen, because that would make things too easy. I mean, if you had your spirit guides talking to you like you and I are talking right now, and telling you what's in your life plan and what you should do next, it will make things too easy. There'd be no point in coming to this earth. You came here to face challenges and to learn things. And if your teacher gives you the answers to a final exam before the exam, there's no point in writing the exam.
Right. And, I had to smile when I was reading your book, because I liked it how you were trying to get out of Albert some answers on your life path, and he wasn't going to give them to you no matter how hard you tried. And I remember a time in my life where I was just trying to get, well, tell me the answers. Why? And I was kind of getting that same treatment, so I had to smile when I was reading that conversation between the two of you. It was really cute.
Yeah, no, I did try to pry as much information as I could from him about my own personal life plan and where I was going. And as I said in the book, he just refused to do that, saying that's not why I'm here. I'm not going to make it too easy for you. And if I did make it too easy for you, you'd be really upset with me when you go back to the spirit side to say, why did you cave?
Yeah,
and so he just wasn't going to do it. And so I have to sort of make my way through my own life plan without sort of direct specific guidance like everyone else. But he does tell me little glimpses, like he said, that I had to write the book Dancing on a Stamp. After partway through our conversations, I said to Albert, some of the things you say are really quite amazing and could transform and inspire a lot of people. Well, why don't you get your message out to people? And he said, I am, because you're going to write a book. And so that's the first I heard of it. And so that was one of the sort of the direct proddings that he gave me, was that I had to sit down and actually write this book, and write a few more, which will be coming in the next few years. But he's pretty relentless about that. And as I've learned from dealing with Albert, when Spirit wants you to do something, you might as well just do it, because there's no point in arguing with them.
Yes, thank you for saying that. I know what you're talking about on that one too.
Yeah.
You're not going to be, you can't win with them, can you?
But eventually they're going to win. So you might as well just cave and go with it. And the more I deal with Albert, the more I realize that that's true. And so I'm at his whim, so to speak. And I hope that I can carry on, and he keeps on speaking to me.
So that was my next question. So you guys are still in contact together? You still have
yes,
connection with Albert?
We were in after our first meeting. As I explained in the book, he appeared to me in the physical form, and then after that, he just was a voice in my head as we spoke telepathy.
Okay.
And then so we carried on for a few years off and on, and whenever I had some profound question to ask him, I would ask him during the course of writing my book. And then last summer, he sort of disappeared for a while, and he wasn't there, and I was sort of concerned that perhaps he was just breaking off the communication. And then he suddenly appeared one night in my bedroom, sort of in astral form, appeared in my bedroom and said, come with me. I want to take you and show you some things so that you can write about them for your next book. And so he basically helped me leave my body, and so I had an out-of-body astral experience. A number of trips with Albert starting last summer to see a lot of amazing different things in the universe and on the spirit side and on our planet. And that is what I wrote about in my second book, which I finished in January, actually.
Oh, so when is that coming out?
Well, not sure. I submitted it to my publisher, and I'm waiting to hear back.
Okay. Well, I can tell you have an open invitation to come back with us.
But it'll be hopefully sometime in 2014. It'll be out.
Well, stay in touch with us and let us know, because I'd love to bring you back. Now, we've only got about a minute left. What would you say was the most, what surprised you the most about Albert's revelations? What surprised me the most was that he said that humans do not die by accident. That we all leave this incarnation, our incarnations, when our soul decides to leave. And so even though you might see an accident on the freeway, or you might see a plane with 300 people crash and everyone's killed, that was no accident. Every one of those souls decided that was the time they wanted to leave. So that was really surprising, because it always seems like people are always dying by accident and by random chance. But he says, no, that doesn't happen. You leave when your soul wants to leave, and you're not aware of that decision because your soul won't communicate that to you, but you leave when your soul wants to. And so there are no accidental deaths. So if your child dies at an age of 6, it wasn't some tragic accident or something that God caused. It was because that soul wanted to leave the incarnation at that time. So I found that very surprising. Can I add to that? Because my husband and I, we do a lot of work taking our dogs, their pet therapy dogs, and we take them into children's hospitals. And I go into the rooms where the kids are getting ready to cross over, and I'm there supporting that whole experience. And I can tell you that every child says to me, they know their time. They've been here. They've fulfilled their reason, their mission. They're such old souls, I guess, or I don't even know. They're very intelligent for their ages, and they know exactly what's going on. And so I'm glad that we brought that up, because we are all here for a life plan to fulfill, and some of us go sooner and some of us later, and there is reasons behind everything, most definitely. I hate to say this, Garnet, we're out of time. This show has gone so fast. Is it fair to say we can bring it back?
Yes, absolutely. I'd be delighted to come back.
Well, folks, we have just talked a little bit here with Garnet, dancingonastamp.com. It's an incredible book. I really recommend you all go get a copy. Go to his website to learn more about it. Garnet, thanks for being with us, my friend. You really, really are a treasure, and thank you for writing this book. It is going to really make such a big difference for so many people in the world.
Well, thank you for your kind words, Sue, and thank you for inviting me on your show.
Thanks. Folks, next week I want to get you to join us, because Dr. Catherine Wright's with us, and as I mentioned, she's got a great tool that you can use to relax. So join us for that show next week. We're out of time. It's gone fast. On behalf of our amazing guest, Garnet Schulhauser, my wonderful producer, Christopher DiPaolo, and myself, Sue London, we all want to wish you much love and many blessings, and I look forward to inspiring you again real soon. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
You've been listening to Get Inspired with Sue London. If you have missed any part of this program, or would like to find out more about Sue London and how to get inspired, please visit AskSueLondon.com. That's AskSueLondon.com. Tune in to get inspired every Thursday on TransformationTalkRadio.com at 2 p.m. Pacific and 5 p.m. Eastern to be inspired by radio host Sue London and her guests to help you create the life you desire.
Some talk networks broadcast whatever they want to, whether the vibration is high or low. Others tune in to the highest vibration possible. to help people live life full out. These networks don't come along very often. But when they do, they remind us that we can achieve everything that is possible to help ourselves, to help others, and to help the planet.
I'm Sue London.
I'm Karen Hager. I'm CJ Liu.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show, talk radio to thrive by. These networks aren't concerned about sensationalizing bad news.
They hear something on the radio, and then all of a sudden, their whole day is ruined.
They aren't concerned about sensationalizing individuals' setbacks. Powerful, inspiring. They focus on an amazing, innovative broadcast network.
You can learn a lot.
That helps people rise up. That helps people become empowered.
Empowered Living Radio is where you can find it.
That helps people say yes to standing in the abundance and amazement that is their lives.
The urge to grow.
These networks remind us that everything is possible.
Let us inspire you.
That nothing is limited.
Epic social change.
That our lives are much more than anything our minds would hope us to believe.
Overcome those challenges in your life.
These networks help us rise and shine to the occasion of our lives.
True empowerment.
Transformation Talk Radio is one of these networks.
Transformative radio show that will change your life.
Won't you join us? Join us on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Listen to the Yo Andrew News Talk Show every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. More info where to listen? www.yoandrewnts.com/listen. Don't get your message lost in the mail. Email us with this address, yoandrew@yoandrewnts.com. How about tweet Yo Andrew at AndrewTweetGeo? Taking a picture is easy. Instagram us today at YoAndrewNTS. You are listening to Transformation Talk Radio, the home of some of the world's most inspiring talk radio hosts. Please stay tuned at the top of the hour. We will be bringing you another amazing, educational, and inspiring show to get you on the path to transforming your life. For more information about us, please visit our website, www.transformationtalkradio.com. That's www.transformationtalkradio.com. Transforming the world, one listener at a time. Transformation Talk Radio, that's my line. Non-stop shows, 24 hours, 7 days. Positive talk radio is the new craze. Learn and live your life the best you can. All hosts of TTR will lend a hand. Transform, inspire, educate, create. Tune in now, our shows are actually really great. Tell your friends, your brother, dad, and mom to tune in at TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Transformation Talk Radio's amazing hosts span from the Pacific to the Atlantic coast. With a world full of loyal fans, what's stopping you from joining our clan? Bring your powerful message to listening ears. We've been helping people do this for many years. Want to make a difference? We can help you out. Just give us at Transformation Talk Radio a shout. It's easy to get started with an email so small to host at TransformationTalkRadio.com, and then we'll give you a call.
Tap into your I Am energy to discover who you truly are and who you always have been. Dawn Smith offers a simple yet profound and life-changing way to discover your I Am energy that is hidden beneath the toxicity caused by choices we made consciously or unconsciously prior to today. This internal perfection is not an idea, a theory, or some vague notion or concept. On the contrary, it is beyond the grasp of the brain and its intellectual interpretations, as it lies deep within the language of our hearts. Visit IamEnergy.ca.
What's getting your attention as physical pain or illness? Have doctors been unable to help? Consider an intuitive healing session with Christy Borst. Amazing things happen every day, sometimes with jolting awareness.